A surprise strike in Qatar, outrage across the Arab world, and America caught between two of its closest allies. As the summit hall erupts in condemnation and Jerusalem projects defiance, the world watches a split-screen crisis unfold. Is this the beginning of a diplomatic breakdown, or the moment global power is truly tested? Across the Middle East tonight, the air feels charged with tension as two screens unfold to very different realities. In Doha, world leaders file into an emergency Arab summit, voices sharp and united in condemnation, declaring Israel's sudden strike on Hamas leadership. Inside Qatar, an act of state terrorism, a blow against diplomacy itself. At the very same moment, in Jerusalem, cameras flash as Prime Minister Netanyahu walks side by side with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the Western Wall rising like a silent witness behind them. Netanyahu's words are meant to echo with confidence, promising that the bond between America and Israel is as strong as the ancient stones that hold the wall together. Yet beneath the symbolism, uncertainty lingers. President Trump, blunt in his disapproval, has made it clear he is not happy with the Israeli strike, sparking a quiet scramble among diplomats to repair the image of unity between allies. It is this split screen, defiance in Qatar, reassurance in Israel, that captures the fragile balance of global politics where a single attack can ripple across borders, shaking the foundations of alliances and testing the limits of loyalty. The American delegation arrived in Israel under the heavy weight of expectation, with Secretary Rubio tasked not only with reaffirming Washington's commitment, but also with demanding answers. The surprise strike on Hamas political headquarters in Qatar has opened a wound far deeper than a battlefield scar. It has thrust America into the uncomfortable role of mediator between two allies, whose interests suddenly collide. In quiet halls and guarded meetings, Rubio presses Netanyahu on timing, strategy, and consequence, while publicly trying to maintain the facade of unwavering solidarity. Behind the rhetoric, questions echo. Was Israel acting alone? Or was this a test of how far American support will stretch? Meanwhile, in Qatar's marble halls, leaders warn of escalating violence, voices rising in speeches that call for international accountability and accuse Israel of sabotaging fragile diplomatic pathways. The contrast is striking. In Israel, a message of unbreakable friendship. In Qatar, a chorus of betrayal. And through it all, the United States finds itself caught in the crossfire of diplomacy, forced to navigate the treacherous waters of anger, alliance, and accountability. Its credibility tested on a world stage that watches with sharp, unblinking eyes. For Netanyahu, the Western Wall offered more than a backdrop. It was a stage crafted to symbolize permanence, resilience, and faith in the bond between his nation and its greatest ally. Cameras captured his carefully chosen words, comparing bricks of stone to the strength of U.S.-Israeli ties, a narrative aimed at soothing tensions even as headlines screamed division. Yet the subtext was undeniable. Washington was not fully aligned, and Trump's open dissatisfaction had sent ripples across every diplomatic channel. Israel's defenders argue that the strike was necessary, a decisive blow against those who plot in shadows. But critics both abroad and within the region warn it was reckless, inflaming tensions at the worst possible moment. In Doha, condemnation sharpens, with accusations that Israel has crossed a line by striking not only its enemies, but also the sovereignty of a nation that once hosted delicate negotiations. The summit floor trembles with rhetoric about broken trust and betrayal, and the world begins to ask, has Israel's bold strike strengthened its security, or has it risked unraveling a fragile balance that even its closest ally may not be able to restore? As the dust settles, the political fallout grows more complicated. Qatar's leadership frames the strike as an attack not merely on Hamas, but on diplomacy itself, an insult delivered on its soil at a time when international dialogue was still clinging to fragile threads. Leaders at the Arab summit seize the moment to demand unity, calling on nations to isolate Israel and pressure the United States to rein in its partner. For America, the tightrope is perilous. To stand by Israel risks alienating other allies, while to chastise Israel too strongly could fracture one of its most critical relationships in the region. Secretary Rubio becomes the embodiment of this delicate balancing act. His words scrutinized in every press conference, his tone dissected for hints of distance or closeness. The symbolism of his visit to the Western Wall is powerful. Yet it cannot erase the awkward truth. America and Israel, though bound, are not always aligned. The world senses the shift. Analysts speak of fractures, and ordinary citizens watch with unease as leaders play a dangerous game of power, where every statement carries the weight of history, and every silence speaks volumes. Night falls over Jerusalem and Doha alike. But the questions born of this moment refuse to rest. In Israel, soldiers patrol streets under flickering lights while leaders defend their actions as strength in the face of threats. In Qatar, voices rise in chants outside conference halls, demanding justice and painting the strike as proof that power respects no borders. For the United States, the road ahead is uncertain, its role as mediator and ally tested like never before. President Trump's discontent hangs over the scene like a shadow, reminding all that even the closest alliances can fracture when actions defy expectations. The split screen remains vivid, one side projecting resilience and eternal friendship, the other seething with outrage and broken trust. And in that dual image lies the true essence of this crisis, a world pulled between loyalty and anger, between security and diplomacy, between choices that will define the next chapter of Middle Eastern politics. The story is not over, only paused, suspended in the tension of unspoken words and unresolved promises, waiting for the next move that could either restore balance or push the region closer to the edge of chaos.